What's going on? We back here on Past Speaks, and I came across a video from ESPN on YouTube in regards to First Take, and the title of the video caught my attention because I saw Rich Paul yesterday, a clip of Rich Paul talking to Pat McAfee, and I didn't click on it to see what he was talking about, but I thought it'd be cool to watch this video to see what Rich Paul was talking about, as well as get Stephen A. Smith's opinion or take on whatever Rich Paul said. So that's why the title caught my attention. The title reads, Stephen A. responds to Rich Paul, we gravitate towards giants. And this is evidently a First Take YouTube exclusive for whatever that's worth. So I definitely want to see what Rich Paul had to say and what Stephen A. has to say in response, because we know Rich Paul and his ties to LeBron James. That's LeBron James's boy, and they both are part of the Clutch Sports, dynamic, and a big part of why Clutch Sports exists. So I definitely want to hear what he has to say, man. Maybe it's something in here about the confrontation between LeBron and Stephen A. Smith that everybody been talking about. Let's go.
Hey, welcome into First Take exclusively on YouTube. Christopher Mad Dog Russo to my left, Stephen A. Smith also gracing your screen in just a moment. There he is. All right, guys, some NBA stuff to dive into. There's been an ongoing conversation of who will be the face of the league after the NBA OGs like LeBron, Steph, and Durant pass the torch. Some say finals champ Jason Tatum, while others have mentioned Anthony.
They about to talk about the face of the league, so let's see what this shit's talking about. Look at this lame ass nigga that's on the screen now. So fucking lame. Look, what?
Edwards is the future, even though he admitted to not wanting the weight.
That shit is so corny when he does this, man. The fuck out of here, bro. Oh, my hip. Yeah, my hip is hurt. Yeah, I can't play this little stretch of games where we about to play the Nuggets twice and the Bucks. I don't want no smoke. And you the king, nigga? Fuck out of here.
Of the Crown. CEO of Clutch Sports, Rich Paul, weighed in on the matter yesterday on the Pat McAfee show.
How you conduct yourself matters. The things within the game and the integrity that you carry matters. And so the league can be whatever the players want it to be. I think the league has to be looked at as a partner. It can't just be looked at as a bank. There's a responsibility and accountability that comes with being a professional athlete. It's even a higher level of that comes with being a star or a budding star or, one of the legendary guys in the league. And I know we had that face of the league conversation, and I don't think there's going to be a next quote-unquote face of the league. I think there'll be a community, just like it was when Jordan left in 98. It became a community. And so I think we should embrace that. It's not so naming somebody. If it becomes one face, then that's because that person earned it.
Sarah mattered. I want to find
man. That nigga Rich Paul is so corny to me, man. Shut your ass up, man. First of all, you talking about all this accountability and all this shit. You fuck with the main nigga in the NBA that takes no accountability, that does a lot of fuck shit, a lot of weird shit. And this nigga has some nerve to be sitting there acting like, oh yeah, there's got to be someone with accountability. It's got to be someone. Shut your ass up, man. Niggas are so disingenuous. And he's talking about, when Michael Jordan left, there wasn't a face of the league. It was a community. Man, shut your ass up. No goddamn community, nigga. When Jordan left, nigga, Allen Iverson was the face of the league. The people's face of the league, shit. And then you can damn near say it was him, or I wouldn't say Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was popular then, and everybody was comparing him to Michael Jordan and shit like that. But he wasn't necessarily the face of the league. I'm trying to tell you, man, Allen Iverson was the face of the league, man, after Jordan left, man. That's just my opinion, man. But I can't stand Rich Paul, man. Or it's gonna be a community. This is the same nigga that said some shit like, Jordan's antlers are gold and LeBron's antlers are platinum. Some shit. Shut the fuck up. His antlers. I know what he was saying, but that shit was whack. Look out of here, bro.
Well, if he's right, it's because nobody stood out. And so I would challenge Rich Paul on that from the standpoint that, you know, the good side of what he's saying, Molly and Doggy, is that if there is no one definitive face, it's because there's a bevy of spectacular players that we can't make up our minds about because that level of parity exists in the league and we should appreciate it all. And I think that's a way to help promote the league moving forward along with the players themselves. I get.
There they go with this goddamn parody word. They be killing me with that damn word. Parody looking ass.
Where he's coming from in regards to that. My response to that is, Doggy, you would know this in all of your years of covering sports as well as myself. When it's that Goliath that's on top of the hill and everybody is shooting for that, that's what makes things incredibly compelling as well. When we look at the National Football League, it's Patrick Mahomes and everybody else. But then Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles roll up in the Super Bowl and they blitz them. They just ramrodded them. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see because everybody is thinking that dude's on the top of the hill. And then all of a sudden you see him get knocked off. Once upon a time it was the Yankees. Now it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. Let's see what happens when the Golden State Warriors were in the NBA Finals and they had KD and stuff like that. Yeah, the only thing that tainted their three-peat was obviously this Achilles tear to Kevin Durant and the ACL injury to Klay Thompson. So we saw Toronto beat them. But if they had been healthy and had been knocked off, it would have been incredibly appealing. You know, LeBron James, watching him win or lose, people gravitate to that person that is the creme de la creme and is above the crowd, but then watching them get knocked off their pedestal or somebody attempting to do so. So it's just a matter of what your taste is. And history has shown us that people do gravitate to that one preeminent superstar, whether it's an individual or a team, who makes that kind of noise and everybody is gunning for them. They appreciate that more than, okay, everybody, there's so many stars. Which one do you pick from? No, we want.
I know that they're showing LeBron James, and I think a lot of people would agree that LeBron James is the face of the league or has been the face of the league, whatever. But there's a strong argument, or one could make a strong argument, that Steph Curry has been the face of the league, man, since he started winning his championships, bro. Everybody wants to play like him, like the kids, and that's what's most important is the kids and the younger people coming up, how you influence them. Everybody wants to play like him. The kids actually wear his shoes and they love his shoes. And he's more popular, in my opinion, than LeBron James. They talk about him a lot on ESPN because I don't know why, bro. I guess he brings ratings and he drives ratings and views and shit like that. But you can make an argument that Steph Curry, like, this hasn't just been, and not even just Steph Curry's league, or he's been the face of the league. If you want to say community, then LeBron has been sharing it with Steph Curry, man. It hasn't just solely been LeBron James. And really, man, people fuck with LeBron James. Really, people that don't know anything about basketball, and if they do know something, and if they do know about basketball, it has to be like some of these people in the mainstream media that are getting paid. You can't really think, well, there are people that do, but you can't really think LeBron James. You can think that he's a great player, yeah. But you can't, and a lot of his longevity has to do with who he's played with and shit like that, but also it has to do with the rules of the game and how they've changed over the years, bro. That's why he's been able to play a long time too, man. But there's no way that you actually think that LeBron James is the best player ever that ever played in the NBA. He's the best player that ever played in the NBA. No way, bro. You can't really think that. Now, one of the greats, yes, I'll give you that. I honestly, man, you know, just watching him, like, moving forward as we go along, I damn near don't think he's one of the greats, man. I mean, you got to give it to him, I guess, because of how long he's played and what he's done. But when you take into account all the stuff along the way, if you factor all that stuff into, you know, what he's done and what he's been able to accomplish, bro, there's a big asterisk there, man. Or asterisk, whatever you say. There's just a big asterisk there, man. It's just his legacy is so tainted in regards to his legacy is so tainted. It's crazy, man. So I would say, man, Steph Curry, if he hasn't been the face of the league since like 2015, that he and LeBron have shared. Well, LeBron has shared the face of the league with Steph Curry. It hasn't just been him, man.
A definitive face attached to it. And that, in that regard, I would disagree with Rich Paul on that.
I agree with you 100%, Steve. Look at Gretzky. He was the face of the hockey. Look at, Tiger, the face of golf. Polarizing. When Mahomes, before that, Brady, Jordan, and LeBron. You need that one guy. I would say, and I know everybody's going to say, well, you got to have the American player. I would say because of the market he's in and the fact that he's great and he's got a lot of...
And before Mad Dog moves forward, that statement about a community, I know what Rich Paul is saying, man. Yes. But if we think about it, if you were around back then after Jordan retired and you think about it, yeah, maybe 98, 99, that was a short year. And there may have not been someone established as the face of the league. They were comparing Kobe to Jordan a lot, but he hadn't earned face of the league yet. He wasn't the face of the league, but they were comparing him to who was the face of the league. So basically saying that he's next up. That's where I'm getting at. But man, Allen Iverson, man, just like Steph Curry, was super popular back then. Everybody wanted to play like him, wanted to look like him. And he was, like I said, man, with his popularity, he may not have been the official face of the league, but he was definitely the people's face of the league, bro. Like I said earlier in this video, man. So people might think what I said was crazy in regards to Allen Iverson being the face of the league, but that's what I meant, man. And if you were around then, you know, man. Allen Iverson, he was on the cover of the NBA 2K games. When NBA 2K first came around, it's been around for years now. It's crazy. The first 2 to 3, NBA 2K games had Allen Iverson on the cover, man. That's who they featured. And it didn't change after year to year. He was the face of 2K sports in regards to basketball. Like Randy Moss was for NFL 2K. Allen Iverson, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. Allen Iverson, if he wasn't the official face of the league, he was the people's face of the league, bro. I said everybody wanted to play like him, look like him. He was all over everywhere. Slam magazine covers, everything. He had the most popular Slam magazine cover where he had the fro out with the Fila jersey on with all his jewelry on and stuff. Like, come on, man. So no, he probably wasn't the official face of the league, but everybody knows, man, Allen Iverson was, in my opinion, the people's face of the league. So I'm going to go out on the limb and say he was the face of the league after Michael Jordan, man.
Work to do. I think Luka's got a possibility for this. He's in LA.
Yep.
Okay, he's young, and let's face it, he's probably top 3-4 players in the league right now, with the Joker, with SGA down the road maybe. You can't count Embiid. He's probably better than Tatum, and he's in LA, which is important.
Why not Jason Tatum?
Well, he's on a team that's got a lot of great players, and he's on. And that's the
He deserves
Celtics.
consideration, though.
Yeah,
He deserves consideration.
Yeah, you think he does? Yeah, but he got so many guys. I mean, Luka is on the Lakers. He's going to be by far their best player. I would think Steve, would have the best chance.
Interesting.
We have to wait and see on that.
Where I do agree with Rich for sure, though, is that it can't be a sign.
I don't think because of who Jason Tatum plays with that he shouldn't be considered the face of the league. It's just Jason Tatum, man, is boring and corny. I'm sorry, man. Especially after the game on Saturday where he was like, yeah, the league is out. It just sounds like a robot. Like he just said some shit he thought was supposed to be said or he thought would have been cool to say, I guess, to get some cool points. No, man, shut your corny ass up, Jason Tatum, man. Great player, yes, man. Awesome basketball player, but, man, no, he's not no face of the league, bro. He said, yeah, the league is better when the Lakers and Celtics are good. Like, shut up, Jason Tatum. Who told? Like, you don't have to say corny shit like that. And who told you to say that? If somebody told you to say that, or you just thought that'd be cool to say, I guess for whatever reason. Like, man, shut up, man. Y'all better than the Lakers. The Lakers don't have to be good. Fuck the Lakers, nigga. Have that attitude, and I guarantee you, nigga, like you said, he has no edge to him. Now, they were trying, I saw a previous video where they were trying to say, like, he needs to, I don't want to say get in trouble, but something like that. Basically be a little bit more edgy. And you know, you don't have to be edgy as far as trying to act tough or anything like that. But, bro, don't go out there saying shit like that. Oh, yeah, the league is way better when the Lakers and Celtics are good. Man, shut up, man. Fuck the Lakers. And please don't say no corny shit like that again, Jason Tatum. Like I said, man, that's the reason why, man. But as far as face of the league, man, I don't know, man. Maybe Luka Doncic, yeah, whatever. But that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the only person I can see. Anthony Edwards, it's a wrap. John Morant, it's over. So that's the only person I can see that they could gravitate towards as far as face of the league, and it makes sense, is Luka Doncic. So I guess, man.
It has to be earned.
Correct.
Like it has to organically happen.
Yes.
All right, so Rich Paul also weighed in on not wanting young players to chase the NBA GOATs of the past. Take a listen to what he said on Pat McAfee.
For those that have the platforms to talk about the sport, they're going to always lean and be biased towards when they played and or the previous years, but it's supposed to get better. There's an evolution, right? And so we have to allow that to be the same in our sport, and, you know, not just try to judge these guys and have them chase GOATs all the time. Cousy was great for his time. Pistol Pete was great for his time. But, you know, what would Kyrie Irving do in that time?
With cricket, we're all about honesty. What you see?
Now, I get what he's saying, but at the same time, nigga, and I know we do this, man. Yes, Kyrie Irving definitely will be great for that time. So I get what he's saying. But comparisons, that's different, nigga. Of course, Kyrie. Anybody, nigga, these days, from today to 20 years ago to even like the 70s, 80s. Of course, nigga. I'm sorry, it's the 90s, the 80s and 90s. Players from today, the 2010s, 2000s, the 90s and 80s. Of course, they could go back in those times and kill. That's totally different. Of course, the game had to evolve. The game had to evolve tremendously from those times to now. So yes, Kyrie Irving to do his thing, but the thing is, bro, and where I'm coming from is when we compare players, that's natural. That's natural. That's going to happen. We're going to compare players. We're going to compare eras, shit like that, man. But the thing is, man, he's saying the game has to evolve, yes. But how? How is it evolving? Is it evolving for the better or for the worse? I would say in these times it's evolving for the worse, man. Like I said, the game that they play today or in the NBA, as far as the NBA goes, is not real basketball, man. So that's where I'm coming from is, shit, what would Pistol Pete do in these days? Like, you talking about what would Kyrie do in Pistol Pete's time? What the fuck would Pistol Pete? Pistol Pete was a motherfucker, man. What would you do in these times where motherfuckers, where you can't really guard somebody? You can play defense. You have to know what you're doing, and a lot of these players don't. But when you're guarding somebody, you can't really hand check it all like that, or you can't really be too physical with them. And also how much the floor is spaced out, how there's no big man down low a lot of times to really like detour somebody from driving to the basket or something like that. Players play shit defense. Like I said, the big man thing. You know, the lane is not clogged up at all. Fuck, not as clogged. It's not clogged up at all like it used to be back in the day, or when they played real basketball under real rules. Like, what would Pistol Pete doing these days? Like, so I understand you can say Kyrie going back, yeah, but what would Pistol Pete do in these days? He would kill, bro. How the game is played these days. Like, shut your ass up, Rich Paul.
Chasing ghosts of the past.
Listen, Cousy would be great today if you didn't think he was a great player, unbelievable ball handler. Now, listen, he wasn't going to shoot the ball as well, but it's a different era. The athlete is advanced, and if that's what Rich means, he happens to be right. I'll tell you right now, though, all right, and I've been around, so has Stevie. Jordan.
And he's right. The athlete has advanced. And did he say Cousy? I thought he said Pistol Pete. Maybe he said Bob Cousy. But Bob Cousy, too. Bob Cousy would be fucking killing in today's game. Julius Erving will be killing in today's game. George Gervin will be killing in today's game. Like, so it goes both ways. I hate when people do that, man.
Played now 30 years ago. All right, that's not 10. That's over a generation ago, and he's still the best player of all time. So you can talk about LeBron, anybody you want. There's nobody better than Jordan.
Right. And
his career began in 1984 and 1985. That's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a long time. That's a ghost that's never going to change. There's Cousy with those great passes, Russell on the break. Oh, I love that stuff. But I would say Jordan, and nobody's better than that guy right there, Bird. But I would think that Jordan, and Steve would agree, that's a ghost, Steve, that for the next 100 years, I don't care what the...
Yeah. Jordan is the best player ever, bro. Nobody before him or after him has been better. Jordan's the best player ever, bro. And Magic Johnson is up there, too. Magic Johnson will fucking destroy the league today if he's in his prime playing today. Then we're not even going to talk about Michael Jordan. But Magic Johnson, come on now. Especially if you give him good pieces around him, man.
Advancement of the athlete is, Jordan is going to be the guy that I'm always going to compare somebody to because he's that good.
Right.
MJ.
Rich Paul and I talk often enough. And the one thing that I will give him a lot of credit for is his consistency. He doesn't go on the airwaves and say stuff that he doesn't say to you directly. And I give him a lot of credit for that. But I've also gotten on him on many occasions in my own defense for this very point. They say, whether it's Rich Paul as an agent in an agency or it's the players themselves, they say it as a point of contention because their belief is that it minimizes and diminishes the accomplishments of today's players. I look at it differently. I think the conversation elevates the players in the annals of history because you're talking about them. Dr. J had to deal with the David Thompsons.
I agree with Stephen A. on that. And I just mentioned that yesterday in one of my videos when I was comparing Nikola Jokic to Vlade Divac, Arvydas Sabonis, and Zydrunas Ilgauskas. Like, those are good players. That's not a knock, man. What I'm saying is the way he's dominating and getting MVPs and shit. And does he have 2 or 3 right now? I'm not sure, man. I have to look it up, man. And I'll do it before this video is over with. But that's not a knock, me comparing him to Zydrunas Ilgauskas, bro. Zydrunas Ilgauskas was an all-star player. He was an all-star. Not a perennial all-star, but he was an all-star at one point. Vlade Divac, very good player. Played for great Lakers teams. Went to the finals with the Lakers in '91 before the Bulls beat them. And Arvydas Sabonis, great player for the Portland Trailblazers. Really was used to give Shaq trouble because, like I said, in regards to Nikola Jokic, if you make him play some defense, he'll be a different player. Arvydas Sabonis used to make Shaquille O'Neal play defense, and that's why the Lakers had problems with the Blazers back in the day, because that nigga Shaq had to play some defense, some real defense against Arvydas Sabonis, because Arvydas Sabonis could not only score on the block, he could shoot. So when I compare Nikola Jokic to players that I think he's more comparable to, that's not a slight or me saying or me trying to be disrespectful. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. I don't think Nikola Jokic is that great. And if we were playing real basketball, under real basketball rules and shit, Nikola Jokic would be, like I said, Arvydas Sabonis, Vlade Divac, and who he reminds me of most, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, man. So I agree with Stephen A. on that. That's not always a slight, man.
Connie Hawkins comparisons. You know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had to deal with the Wilt Chamberlain comparisons, the Bill Russells and others. whether, Doggy will appreciate this, the Artis Gilmores, the Bob Laniers of the world, they had to deal with the comparisons of the same big men. You had shooters like downtown Freddie Brown and Ricky Pierce and Dale Ellis and Del Curry and others, and Bird, of course, shooters that followed. The Ray Allens, the Allen Houstons of the world, and others had to deal, the Reggie Millers of the world, had to deal with those comparisons. Respectfully, the only people who whined and moaned about it were these players. Doggy, back me up here. When we talk...
He's absolutely right. He's 100% right. There have been players, and the perfect example for me in my time is Kobe Bryant. The day Kobe Bryant got into the NBA, they were comparing him to Michael Jordan because of his look, his aesthetic, and the way he played. You never saw Kobe, and Kobe Bryant embraced that, loved it, relished on it, and wanted to prove that not only he was just as good, but better than Michael Jordan. And really, that was his goal, honestly, his whole career, was to prove how good he was and how much better he was than Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant never complained or cried about being compared to Michael Jordan, bro. And that's the main player in my time that I can remember as far as comparisons, especially early in their career, like as soon as they got to the NBA, he was being compared to Michael Jordan. The very next year, he was playing in the All-Star game. The real reason why he was voted to the All-Star game, because Allen Iverson should have been in the All-Star game if Kobe Bryant was, but the real reason he was voted to the All-Star game, because he was popular, yes. He was a good player, yes. But they wanted to see him play against Michael Jordan in that All-Star game before Jordan retired. So Kobe Bryant, perfect example of a player compared to one of the greatest, well, not one of the greatest. Well, yeah, he's one of the greatest ever, but compared to the greatest basketball player ever, was compared to Michael Jordan the day he hit the NBA and never cried and complained. And that's actually what motivated him and fueled him to be who he was and how he ended up in regards to his legacy and career, man. So Stephen A is absolutely right. And I said that in a previous video. These niggas, what is up with these niggas, are the only niggas in NBA history to cry about being compared to motherfuckers from back in the day. Everybody's been compared to somebody when they come around, bro. Stop.
About eras, previous eras with those players, whether it be Jordan, whether it be Reggie Miller, whether it be any of the... They didn't complain about comparisons to the past. They embraced it, because they recognized from an historical context and an historical perspective, simply talking about them put them in a position where they would be considered years after their playing days were over, because their performances had warranted discussions about their legacies in basketball history. This generation uses it as an excuse to whine and moan about it. Why, Molly? Why, Doggy? Because you're looking at today's atmosphere of social media and beyond, and they want to say everybody has a voice. That's not the only reason. They've utilized those outlets and those assets to monetize their brands. And so anything that you say about them that isn't of the loftiest of praises is considered something that's potentially compromising their brand and what their agenda is for their brand. That is what they get caught up in. And I'm just saying they're looking at it wrong. Just because they are doesn't mean we're not. When we talk about these guys, we're actually celebrating them by comparing them to yesteryear, because we're recognizing that their greatness commands that level of attention.
Yeah. They're just hearing it a lot.
I agree. And that's all we need to hear. But to go off of what Stephen A said, yes, man, these players cry too much these days, especially in regards to being compared to past players or players from yesteryear. And it's crazy, man. But in my opinion, man. Oh, and like when LeBron James was crying like he was crying in regards to how he was being treated as face of the league, you never saw Michael Jordan do some shit like that, man. Because Michael Jordan used to get his share of criticism and people talking shit about him too. Please stop, man. We never seen Michael Jordan do that. And if LeBron felt that like that, man, he should have never like expressed it or showed that side of him, man, or just showed that he's bothered by that. He should have never did that, man. So LeBron James has got to go as the face of the league. Somebody's got to replace him ASAP, man. But it's not gonna happen until he retires, so he needs to retire soon. But that was an interesting conversation. I did enjoy watching that video, and yeah, man. We'll see who the face of the league is. Like I said, once LeBron gives up, you know what I'm saying? Once he bows out, retires, whatever you want to call it, once he gets the fuck on, then we'll see who's next, man. But more than likely, man, they want it to be Luka Doncic, man. I don't see anybody else. And like I said, Steph Curry, you could make an argument this is Steph Curry's league too, as far as him being the face of the league. You could say him and LeBron have been sharing it, or you can make an argument that it's been him since 2015. And yeah, man, we'll see who's next, man. Looking like Luka Doncic, but you know, maybe it'll be somebody that comes out of nowhere, like I said in one of my previous videos. But yeah, that's all I got.